Hello, everybody. Horror here, and this is Let's Not Meet. And here we go. I am a female, and I was 21 at the time of this occurrence, back in 2010. I was living at home with my mom. I used to stay up until 4 a.m. The only show that was ever on that was good at any time was the Law and Order SVU. So it comes on, and I'm about to turn my light off when I hear a small noise in the front of my apartment. I shrug it off and continue to get ready for bed. At this point, I have no clothes on whatsoever because that's how I sleep. Next thing I remember is hearing footsteps through the hallway and my doorknob jiggle. At first, I thought I was just hearing things. Then I hear my mom's door right beside me close. I thought maybe she had gotten up to walk out our dog because sometimes he would really need to go and he would wake her up at any time throughout the night. Then it hits me. The footsteps were slow and there were no lights on in my house. Had my mother gotten up? She would have switched on a lamp or something. I slowly peeked out my head out in my door and take 2 steps towards hers. I open her door to complete darkness. I open her door to complete darkness. She's in the bed, and it's obvious she hasn't moved. I say her name, and all she says back is, "Go to your room." I'm a very curious person, so I told her to turn the light on. Now, I knew someone was in my house, and I wanted to know who. Again, she tells me, "Go back to my room." I've never felt so frozen with fear. I put on my clothes as I'm shaking and looking for something to defend us with. It's a girl's room. I don't have shit. Next thing I hear is the bathroom door shut. It's across from both of our bedrooms. She yells for me to get back in her room. I slam the door and lock it. She tells me to grab the phone and dial 911. Meanwhile, we can hear the person going back and forth from my room to the bathroom. We can hear him opening drawers and going through my things. The police show up after 45 seconds. They come to the door, and the dispatcher I'm talking to says our door is locked. They are going to have to break it down unless we can come unlock it. It dawns on me the guy came through our front door because I never thought to lock it. Every time I come home, my mom runs to the door while the guy has locked himself in our bathroom. They go back there and break that door down with guns drawn. I'm freaking out at this point because it has all hit me at once that I was in danger. They cuff him and drag him outside. They asked me if I wanted to try and identify him. I had no idea who he was. They retrieved many of my things he tried to steal. Cameras, old phones, etc. They take a report and it's all over with a couple minutes. Come to find out, he was my neighbor's cousin. He had just been cheated on by his soon-to-be baby mama. So he went out and got high and decided to break into our place. Not sure what he was thinking. So dude who broke in my house, let's not ever meet again, asshole. Number 2. Back in around 2004-2005, I lived next to a major hospital in my city. This hospital used to deal with a lot of people ranging from injured to the insane, just like any hospital really. I lived around 50 feet away from it, so I would often see people who were a few sandwiches short of a picnic outside my apartment. After a while, I got used to the sort of people you'd see hanging around. The demographic was pretty verified, so I'd see people from all walks of life outside. Nothing overly weird happened until one night. I lived on the ground floor of my apartment building. My bedroom window opened on to the street. On the odd occasion where I'd forgotten my keys, I'd take a shortcut and just clamber through my window. It wasn't overly difficult anyway. One blistering hot summer's evening, I decided that rather than stew in my own juices, I'd open the window and see about getting a nice breeze into my room. It was a bloody hot evening, so I decided to sleep in my birthday suit under a thin blanket, stay at a comfortable temperature, and aid me in my mission to pay Morpheus a visit. The night wore on, and I just lay in a state of semi-consciousness, that stage where you're not quite asleep, but you're not quite awake either. I'm sure you're familiar with it. Anyway, as hours ticked by, and the football from the hospital tapers off. I heard rustling outside my window. Hearing people late at night outside of my window wasn't particularly unusual, as my bedroom window was right next to the entrance to the building, and people would often come in late at night after an evening of drinking. I think nothing of this and just lay in my state of semi-consciousness, enjoying the feeling of not quite being awake or asleep. I hear more rustling outside the window. I start thinking that is quite odd. The next thing I know, there's a motherfucker tangled in my blinds stumbling onto my bed. The bed was right under the window. Anyway, while this fucker is tangled in my blind, I snap immediately awake. I don't think at all, and I kick the bastard with all my strength. He went flying off my bed and nailed on my bedroom floor. Between him landing on my bed and me kicking him off there, he can't been more around 5 seconds. I didn't know what to do, and I didn't have time to think. I leapt out of bed with my meat and veg in full view, and I lay into this fucker. I punch and kick him toward my bedroom door and wrestle him into the hallway, while bullock naked. This bastard is stunned for words and didn't seem to fight back with any kind of real vigor. Anyway, somehow I managed to open the apartment door and throw him into the complex passage and slam the door before he knew I hit him. I don't think he expected to land on a 6'3" balcony naked block. In a way, I took this home invader by surprise. Anyway, random stranger who broke into my apartment and had a fight with an angry naked ginger block. Let's not meet again. Alright, and last but not least, this one is not as nearly as creepy as the last one I remembered, but it isn't recent and there's actually a happy ending, sort of. This takes place last semester at my university. Naturally, being broke and a student, what do I do on the weekends? Get drunk and go to house parties, of course. Sorry about that, guys. And go to house parties, of course. This particular night, my roommates and I all go to this apartment party. The apartment itself is pretty nice. There's a long island in the kitchen area where people are playing beer pong. A lot of people congregate in the living room area, talking, dancing, doing other party things, and some in a long hallway leading to the bathroom. And like most college parties, it was dimly lit. Only the lights in the hallway and ones over the island were on. We get there pretty drunk and we're having a great time. We played beer pong, caught up with some old friends we hadn't seen in the semester, etc. There were a lot of people I didn't know, but people were friendly for the most part. Still, even in my drunk state, I recognized one kid every time I looked that just seemed out of place. He was wearing a hoodie a bit too big for him, a beanie, and baggy pants. Just from his physical appearance alone, he seemed out of sorts, as everyone else was done up, looked relatively clean, put together. His hair was poking out of his underneath his beanie. All he looked like was a greasy person. Normally, I wouldn't have noticed that kid because as a drunk straight college male, other dudes are the least of my concern. But this kid just stood out every time I saw him. He wasn't really dancing, playing beer pong, or talking to people. He just kind of lingered behind this one girl. Admittedly, she was very good looking. I'm really sorry about that, guys. I'm sorry. Just forget all that stuff. She was in a circle of friends, so I figured if you want to try that, best of luck, you weird greasy kid. The next time I look over, they're talking. Well, shit. That kid, it wasn't weird. I'm a judgmental asshole. She isn't all over him, but from what I can tell, things are going well. Good for you, kid. I think to myself as a roommate, and I lose another game of beer pong. Finally, it's around 2 a.m. Party is still going, but we're about half capacity now, and I can actually navigate the apartment and pretty much see everyone. At this point, me and my roommate were both keeping an eye out for that kid to see if he was going to be successful in his attempt to woo that young woman. As I searched the party, I noticed him and the girl on the balcony. I can only see her right shoulder, as she is leaning up against the wall next to the door. He's leaning his left arm against the door. Still talking about something. At this point, me and my drunk roommate casually approached to get a better angle of the scene. This is when I felt uneasy. She was avoiding eye contact with him, constantly looking down at the ground and off into the distance. From what I could tell, she wasn't exactly an active participant in whatever they were talking about. Then he goes for a kiss and she turns her cheek towards the apartment. Instead of taking the hint, he is now kissing her on the neck. She finally reaches for the door, ducks under his arm, and tries to leave. As she's trying to walk back in, he grabs one of her arms and he's trying to pull her back out. She's trying to play it off, laughing under her breath as she tells him to let her go. He's not laughing, he's just glaring at her, trying to pull her back outside. She turns away from him, scanning the room for her friends. I wouldn't assume. Then she and I make eye contact. I didn't know her, but I'm relatively friendly and a sociable person. So I gave her a confused look, trying to ask what the fuck is going on. Without saying it aloud, she just stared back at me. She looked pretty scared. Okay, so this is actually applicable in real life. So if you take anything away from this, just remember this part. I extended my hand towards her. She grabbed it with her free hand. I pulled her towards me, bringing her close and wrapping my other arm around her shoulder. Once he realized what was happening, he just sort of let go. I locked eyes with him, and eventually he relented and walked out. Afterwards, I asked her what was going on, but she had a hard time putting her thoughts together. She wasn't crying or anything, but her voice was shaky, and she was clearly rattled from rambling. I gathered this. While at first he was very sweet and friendly, once they were alone, he totally changed. Once they were outside alone, he asked her really sexual questions. Are you a virgin? How many guys have you fucked? What's the biggest dick you've had? Etc. When she first tried to leave, he told her she didn't need to find her friends as she was going home with him. Then, when she actually tried to step out, he held onto her wrist with a death grip. I can confirm this as she showed me the red mark left on her wrist from how hard he was grabbing her. Once she settled down a bit, I helped her find her friends, and she went our separate ways. So weird, greasy kid, let's not meet. Alright guys, I really hope you enjoyed that. I'm trying my best on these videos. It's a new channel. If this does get any views, just give me a shout out or something. I'm trying to make this channel grow. And I'm very sorry about the notifications. That was my fault. I'll fix that next time. My bad, guys. Alright, everybody have a wonderful day. And as always, read on. And Earnmaker, you're the best. Lazy Masquerade, you're the best. And Mr. Nightmare, hope your mother gets better. I wish you the best of luck. Bye.